Okay, so today is Wednesday, 21st February 2024. Air temperature is about 25 degrees Fahrenheit, centigrade, 25 degrees centigrade, 77 Fahrenheit. I'll just have a look and see what water temperature is. So, about 24 degrees centigrade. So it's about the same as air temperature. It's supposed to be winter, but spring will soon be here. I think next week it's going to drop down to about 18 or 19. So it might get a bit lower than that. Depends on what happens in the next 1 or 2 weeks. As soon as you get to mid-March, it's usually above 20 degrees centigrade daytime. So in comments on some of my previous videos, I've been asked to explain how I do 1 or 2 simple DIY type stuff for keeping MEDAKA, or help looking after MEDAKA. I also do a bit of like improvisation on everyday articles to are going to have a few things to help with looking after MEDAKA. It's only simple stuff. Maybe it's of interest, but probably others have better ideas. But anyway, I'll describe a few things that I do. I don't know a lot about this, but I mean, I think the MEDAKA hobby in Japan has become even more popular in recent years. A lot of people combine this with an interest in improvising fish keeping stuff from everyday items. So you see Japanese YouTube videos, MEDAKA YouTube videos, like going around home improvement stores, hardware stores, and the sort of looking at sort of the very cheap plastic made in China stuff from their 100 yen stores. The 100 yen stores are equivalent to sort of like dollar stores in the US and globally. I mean, it seems to be a modern phenomenon that there are like dollar type stores in almost every country around the world. Now I like improvising using this sort of stuff, so I'll just include a bit in this video. Now I might be even more long-winded than usual, so I wouldn't be surprised if I make a few mistakes in what I'm showing. So I've divided it into 2 videos, part 1 and part 2. This part 1 is about improvising a few items and making spawning mops. Then in part 2, I'll explain things as I've been asked in comments on my previous videos about making protection netting for my tubs and making barriers to retain floating plants in a pond. So that's enough introduction. I'll get on and show you what I do. Okay, so this bit of DIY, maybe it's DIY, maybe it's improvisation, whatever you want to call it. Just a few bits and pieces, the way I do things. Probably other people have got better ideas than I have, but I'll show you what I do. So first of all, let's look at nets. Okay, Now, the Japanese have lots of different types of nets for MEDAKA, different sizes, whatever, for different functions. But the main thing of most of them is that they are fairly flat like this, just a small, not completely tight, because they're dealing with tubs, with shallow tubs. They don't really need a sort of proper net that is the normal aquarium net. I'll go get one of those and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so that's the normal aquarium type of net, and if you scoop MEDAKA up like that and you want to transfer them somewhere, you've got to sort of tip them out and they can go all over the place, and maybe you've got to use two hands. Maybe the MEDAKA get caught up at the bottom of the net, so all sorts of problems. So in a big pond, yeah, probably you've got to use a net like this. In an aquarium, you've got to use a net like this. But in tubs, which are usually fairly shallow, you can use something like this. So this is a small one. Let me see. There, easy to pick them up, and they don't get caught in the net. Where are we? Don't get caught in the net, and you can just gently release them. So that's a smaller version. I think it's a net for fry or something. If you order it or look at it online in any of the online stores. So that's that one. But for a bigger one, this is my DIY. It is not very elegant. It's just a normal aquarium type net, and I got a muzzle I just put over the part of the net for catching fish, tie it around there. Not elegant at all, but again, it works on the same principle. If I can catch one, doesn't work as well as the other one, but there. So you've got to be careful that the fish don't jump out, but you can just catch them, easily release them with problems like that. As you can see, it's just you can buy them again probably online or in your local shop. The bags which you put spices in or something like that. I've still got to fix this up properly, but I don't use it very often, so it might take me some time before it comes, and I might even try and sew it so it looks better and make it easier to use. Right, and then the other things which I have catching fish are a big ladle, which is not so easy to scoop one up if they're down the bottom. That's a big ladle. If they're in a smaller, shallow container, yeah, you can. If they're in like a juveniles in a grow-out tank or a grow-out container which is quite shallow, you can use that. And for fry in very small containers, I have a smaller ladle. As I think I showed before in one of my videos, the other way of combining this sort of net, where let's see where I can catch any with the scoop, is in the net, scoop up and can release, and they can stay in there, and they're while you wait, if you want to look at them, whatever. Now the other thing which I think, MEDAKA which are kept in tubs like this, or if you want to have a look at them, if you want to inspect them, or you want to transfer them somewhere, you might think, okay, you'd have something like this. But the MEDAKA go frantic in there, they get really stressed out. I think because they're not used to having these transparent walls, and they crash into them, try and get through them. In a glass aquarium, they're used to having, if you like, transparent walls like this. So it's not, don't stress them out so much. You know, it is better to have something which is black. Now in Japan, in 100 yen stores, you can easily go and find this colour, but it appears to me most of the other places in the world you can't really get black. I like black. It shows up the fish if you want to inspect it. So I like black. So this is just a transparent plastic container, and painted the outside, not the inside, painted the outside with matte black paint. I think I used spray paint on this because I had a bit left over doing something else. But anything, just acrylic paint, doesn't matter. If it scratches, you just patch it up again. So these sort of black containers are, I think, much better for looking at fish. I mean, I've got another one here, same thing. This is a cut down version of the one I showed you before. This was like I forget what sort of food I got in this. It's transparent, it's food grade, but on the outside, spray painted. It doesn't, you can't leave it in the water for days at a time or months at a time, but just for looking at the fish, transferring fish somewhere else, then they're ideal. And so if we pull up here, put enough water in so it's stable. There you go. Then catch a few fish. And there we are. And they're not too stressed out. They're okay. So get stable on that. Links up. There's a bit of reflection. Anyway. And then the other thing is, if you want to, so you can look at your fish carefully, see which ones you like, if you want to breed from them, or you want to just select some and move them around. But if you want to look at them at the side, then you need a transparent, at least one side. So this, again, if this was completely transparent all the way around, they'd go frantic. But what I got here, it's a small sort of insect box or something, I don't know, just standard plastic. Again, spray paint the bottom, black paint, matte paint preferably instead of gloss, and you can just then you can see fish from the side. I'll just tip these in. Yeah, and they don't look too stressed. Yeah. Now, if that was transparent all the way around, they would look really stressed. They're even looking for food already. Let's just put some more water in. That stresses them out. Right, so that sort of covers that area of things, I think. Let's take this. See, it's very difficult to get these fish out of here. They're at the bottom of the net, and particularly if they're juveniles, they can get stuck. So well, so that net's okay. It's empty. What what else have we got? And that's about it, I think. As I say, it's only a small amount of improvisation. Oh yeah, I mean, one of these can be quite useful. Turkey baster. You can. Some people use them for moving fry. They suck up the fry like that, and then they move it. That is probably going to damage quite a few of the fry because their spines are quite delicate, whatever. But for taking mold out of the bottom of a small breeding tank or something, then they're ideal. So that works okay. And I think that's about it. Somebody asked me about how I make my these spawning mops. I'll do a bit on that, and also I've got these. Turn out the right way. I got this this netting on the top, so I'll just do a short description later, or another. I'll do a short description on that on how to just make one of these. As I say, probably people have got much better ideas than I have, but there we are. This works for me. This netting is just to keep the dragonflies out. There's the dragonfly larvae, dragonfly nymphs eat small fish. Okay, so one of the things somebody asked me at my spawning mops. Now, the normal ones you get are like this. They have this circular. See, I don't get it. You get a pool noodle, slice it up, but I just cut a piece of floating big plastic that floats, and put it like that. But I could never understand why they have this big sort of pool noodle type thing at the top. I've read maybe it gives some shade to the eggs below the water. I don't know. To me, that takes up too much space, so I don't like that. So the ones that I have are like this, and they just have this bit of floating rubber, plastic rubber foam. Sorry, plastic foam that floats. Now the standard mops are made out of scouring pads. I think you get them most places in the world. You can always get them online if not. It was already interesting, I think, in the 100 yen stores they used to have in Japan. They would have them as scouring mops, like presumably years ago. I don't know. But then keeping MEDAKA became even more popular, and people started, producing spawning mops like this. So now they've repackaged these. I think in some of the 100 yen shops, you can get them as scouring pads, but also as DIY MEDAKA spawning mops. So now the Japanese ones, I think, I'm not an expert on this. Okay, I just see what's maybe on YouTube videos and stuff like that. But the Japanese ones, they take the scouring pad that way, and so that they take the short side to be vertical. Quite possibly that's because a lot of the tubs they use are quite shallow, only maybe 200 mm, about 10 inches, something like that, 9 inches, and so you can't have a long one the way that I do. And they also have these, usually, I'm generalising, okay? The cuts they make are normally, and I've done it already, we just cut it already, are normally quite wide, and that's about what, 20 mm, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. And they use them that way. because my tubs are deeper and because I think it's more natural, I cut them that way, like that. And to try and make it more natural, because the females like to lay eggs like on plant stems and things like that, then instead of having very wide legs, if you like, coming down, I make them it's about a quarter of an inch thick. I make them about a quarter of an inch wide, something like that. So I have a lot more, and so they all hang down like that. And quite often, or usually, find lots of eggs inside, not so many on the outside. Whereas here, because they can't really go inside so much, or there's not much inside to go, you see lots of eggs on the outside. But I'm generalizing, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so anyway, and what I have to make a bit that floats, any sort of closed cell rubber, this is part of a child's play mat. You put it on the floor. In fact, it's non-toxic, so they say. Children can happily play on, or babies can happily play on that, well, if the floor is hard. So I've got a big sheet of this I don't really like the colour, but there we are. I've already got it. My grandchildren don't need it anymore, don't want to play it anymore, they're too big for that. So I cut it up. You could use, if you can find a cheap yoga mat, I would rather use a black colour or a darker colour than that, but you know, I'm too cheap. I like to use stuff if I got it for free. So I cut off a bit about that size. I don't know what is it, but 2.5 inches, 60 mm, maybe an inch wide, 20 mm wide, 25 mm, whatever. You can experiment. Yeah, it's about like that. This one's a bit smaller, and I cut that. Now, instead of using this, some sort of packaging from an electrical appliance, this is closed cell. This is similar to pool noodle foam or upholstery foam, so you could use that. It is possible to use polystyrene, but I don't like it. It all falls apart and makes a mess. But you could use it if you haven't got anything else. If it's free, then use it. So having cut that and got a piece of that, basically it is just putting it on there, roll it up, and you've got zip ties. Doesn't matter what zip ties, these are just ones I have. I love zip ties. They're one of the modern inventions I really like. They're so easy to use for doing DIY stuff. They're plastic, I know, but never mind. So you roll it up, there, it's all rolled up, put the zip tie over the top, and cut the zip tie, and there we are. That's the octopus. I think the Japanese call them an octopus, I don't know. So that Japanese one looks like that. Okay. Similar to that anyway. So that's my version, if you like, the Japanese one. Mine, I'll just cut some of this. So it's quite easy to cut with scissors. Maybe it's a bit wide. Put it down like that, maybe. Yeah, nice shape. Straighten it off there. That looked quite nice, except there's a bright blue colour. Get the zip tie ready, and roll it up. A bit more, so I've got something to hold when I take them out. Because it's quite nice just to use this as a handle to take it up. Zip tie on, cut it off, and there we are. So you can see you've got the same area for the females to put eggs on, but I reckon a longer one like that, if you've got a reasonably tub or pond is better. And then you just shove them in there. Yeah, got lots of. Sort them in there. Too many. But I mean, what you can see with the shorter one is more, it's less stable, which is possibly why, you know, you have this poo noodle type one to make it more stable. This one, because it's longer, the centre of gravity is further down, it's more stable. So yeah, maybe that's why Japanese use the poo noodle ones. It does stay up, but not as well. But whichever way, you can out of this stuff, you can just quickly cut out. You can make it a triangle, you can make it a square with a hole in the middle, and just roll up, push it through the hole, and it stays there. Okay. So as I say, you can experiment. Do whatever you like. I'm sure people have got other ideas, but that's just the way I do it. Or you can just buy them online somewhere on eBay and whatever. But I think they're expensive if you buy from Japan on eBay. Okay.